Hello, how are you doing today? I hope your day is well. So, today I'll be explaining the story of Israel and how Israel became to be formed as a country we know today. And before Israel was there, what type of country was named after Israel? Israel didn't have that name of Israel before. It was given that name in the around there 1948 and 1947 after the World War II happened. It's when the state of Israel was formed, and at that time, before that time, the state of Israel was called Palestine, and that's why Israel today is facing wars with the Palestinians, and they are still fighting because the Israel came back to their land, and also the Palestinians didn't want to accept because the Palestinians had already formed their own culture and had already built their own economic and also their governance. It was already over there. Now what the Jews did, they came back to the Palestinian land, and also in 1948 they were delegated, and also they were put on their own state. But the Jews before that time, they didn't have any country that they will say this is our own country. So I'll be explaining to you the history of the Jews and also the history of Israel, because many people don't know why this war in Palestine is happening and the reason why it is happening, and which people are on the right side, and also which people are on the wrong side. So I'll be explaining to you on this video, and so that you can be able to understand, and also it can bring awareness to a lot of people. So Israel and also the Jews, so many people are asking, uh, what happened to the Jews? The Jews had a long history, and since the history of time and also man, the Jews are the most persecuted group of people, because all over the world they have been persecuted, be it Russia, be it the United Kingdom, be it Ukraine. Jews have been able to be persecuted. And this started when the time of King Solomon. King Solomon, when he died and also left the kingdom of Israel. So the kingdom of Israel split into two. The northern part, which is the Israel, and the southern part, which is the Judah kingdom. And remember, the Judah kingdom was the kingdom which when King David had a battle with Saul and also his other enemies who wanted to take the place of the king, the Judah kingdom was the only kingdom which supported King David, and also were the followers of King David. So the Judah kingdom went to the southern part, and the northern part went to the Israelites. So after going to the Israelites, the I think it was a particular it there's some type of group came and invaded the Israelites, and it was the northern part. So after invading the Israelites, and it was the northern part, it's when the Israelites now moved to the southern kingdom, which is the Judah kingdom. After moving to the Judah kingdom, that the people who had invaded the upper part of the Israelites stayed there for almost a century, for almost 100 years. They stayed over there. Then another revolution came where the Persian kingdom also came and also took over that particular region. And after taking over that particular region, the Persian kingdom started having some type of laws. And also after the Persian kingdom, now the kingdom of Alexander the Great came, which is the Greek kingdom. So the Greek kingdom, although it was a good kingdom, in the first 30 years is when 20, I think it was less than 10 years, because Alexander died at the age of 33. So it was a young age. He had conquered all the Persian Empire, he had destroyed it. So although he had destroyed it, he didn't have enough time to be able to rule and also set rules. So the Israelites and also the southern part, which is Judah, was divided. Now the Roman Empire now came. After the Roman Empire now came, the people who are on the southern part of Judah, which are the Israelites and also the Jews. When they came, the Roman Empire started persecuting also the Jews, and also that's when Christianity started growing. After Christianity started growing, the persecution of Jews came along, and also so the Jews spread out to many different locations. Now, many years after many years, But remember one thing, the Roman Empire decided, let's build as a country which will make the Jews forget their homeland, which is Palestine. So they built a Palestine country, which is right there on the Israel side, or on the southern kingdom of Judah, because all the Israelites had moved to that point. So the Roman Empire built a country called Palestine so that the Jews could forget about their lives, and also could have their culture would have been brainwashed. So it led to a lot of division into the Jews and also the Palestinians who are there. And after, later on, the Ottoman Empire came, and also that's how it's began to spread. And also on these years, the Jews were also being persecuted. So the Jews will travel to many countries like Ukraine and also countries like US. After traveling to US, also US was a favorable place for them because there was no persecution. But if it was around Europe, Jews were being persecuted. Over 600,000 would be killed in a single revolution. Over even 100,000 also will be killed. The Jews were most hated around the region of Europe. So Jews were also in Ukraine also, and also Russia. They were also persecuted over there in Russia. So around the year of 1980, 1987, 90, or 1897, before 1900s, is when the Zionist group formed. And the Zionist group is a group which states that the religion should not influence the political stability of a particular country. Zionists believe that politics should be politics and religion should be religion. These two things are different. So Zionists also advocated that the Jews will have a particular place where they will be able to live over there, and if they live over there, they will be able to be recognized, because Jews had no home. So the Zionists also wanted that the Jews could have a particular place where they could be called home, because the Jews were spread into many countries, but they didn't have the original home. So the best home which they could see was the name of Palestine, which was around the Israel area, surrounded by the Arabs also. Down there was Egypt. It was surrounded by the by the Arabs nation. So the first batch of group to come to the Palestine region of Jews were from Ukraine. So the people who came from Ukraine, there was a massacre over there in Ukraine and also other localities. So they had the guts to come to Palestine, and that was around their 1900s to 1920s. They started migrating to the Palestine region. So after migration to the Palestine region, at that time the British was the leader. It had already colonized the Palestine region. So at that time the Palestine region was stronger than the was strong, and also so the British were wondering what method will they use to make this long-term colonization of the area of Palestine longer. So when the Jews came, it was a good side for them, because they saw that if the Jews could fight with the Palestine region, they can be the referee for many long time, because this place will be used. The Europeans and also the England people, the British, will use this as a excuse to stay in that particular country for a long time, because these people are not yet civilized, and they're still having battles. And any battle which it will be happening, the people of the Palestinians, the British people, will be asked for help. So when the Jews came to Palestine, they started fighting with the Palestinians, and also the wars were happening. And although the British were the overseer, they couldn't say anything about the war. So when the other Jews on the other countries started hearing that Jews are coming to Israel, the Palestine region, at that time it was Palestine region. No country was ever called Israel, so it wasn't known as Israel. So when they started moving around there, 19 to 1930s over there, the outbreak which made more Jews to come was around the 1930s, when the World War One came. So when the World War One came, many Jews were being persecuted. So other Jews decided, let us look for a home, because in Europe, in in Germany, Jews were being persecuted. In Russia, Jews were being persecuted. So they decided to come to Palestine, at least other Jews over there, and also there were that Zionist movement was over there, and also it was spreading. So the Jews started becoming stronger than the Palestine, and also they started becoming more inside that particular country. So the Palestinians who were living over there, they were being pushed out, and also they were being pushed out of their homes by the Jews who were coming, because there was a war between them. The one thing the Palestinians wouldn't accept, that the Jews could come and also in their country and also try to overtake them. So later on in the 1941s, when Hitler became the leader of Germany, the Nazi. So Hitler started terminating Jews and started doing the Holocaust, which more than 6 million Jews were killed by Hitler. Hitler hated completely Jews a lot. He didn't like Jews. So Hitler persecuted the Jews which were living in the European regions. And one thing at that time, the leader of the Palestine also went to Hitler, at least so that they can become friends. Although he was an Arab, he went to Hitler so that the Jews, at least he could seek help from Hitler, that the Jews in Israel and also stroke Palestine could be terminated and also be taken away from the country of Palestine. Although Hitler wasn't a good friend to that person, he snubbed it because he had no problem with the Arabs, and also he didn't want to interact with the Arabs very well. So there was another person, I don't know, it was a commandant for Hitler, is the one who decided to help the Palestine leader to be helped to go and spy also in the region of the Jews and see what help he can offer them. So when he came to the region of the Jews, he saw how Jews operated, and that's how he used to go and tell Hitler also things about the Jews. So around there, 1941 to 42, when the World War II was ending, the many Jews were being persecuted, and the persecution of Jews, the Holocaust, Jews they didn't have any place to run to, so the only place they could run to was go back to Palestine, and at least there in Palestine they were able to face a lesser threat of group, and also they were also collected, so they were also made strong. So fighting with any type of enemy was an advantage, although it was disadvantage, but it was a little advantage to them because they had numbers, and also that's the only place they could call home, and also historically that's the only place they could call home. As I said, Jews were banished from the country of Palestine, from the country of Israel a long time ago, and also it was a resulted by the Roman, which created the Palestine region. So Jews decided, let's go to our original home, and that's where they gathered up in the original home, which is Israel. Right now we know it as Israel. So after the Holocaust, many Jews came back to the particular region of Israel. And after the World War II had happened, many people were sympathizing with Jews, and also they were very sad with Jews for what had happened on the Jewish forefront. Many Jews were being killed. So Jews were on the sympathy table, and also Jews were being sympathized. So there was a movement where the Jewish state will be formed, which was happening around the year of 1947 to 1948 over there, and it was created by the United Nations. So the United Nations created a treaty where the Jews should form a particular place and where they will live, and that will be Israel. So countries of the world will vote if this law could be passed. That 33 countries were able to vote for this law, and the other countries, I think it was 13 Arab countries, also didn't vote, and also opposed this law about the Jews coming back to Israel. So after this had happened, one thing to note is America was a key influence into the state of Jew and also the state of Israel being formed, because when America were doing some votes, they head to another particular countries where these two countries are very small countries, and they cannot be seen on the map. So they came back, gathered up with more than two votes. America and the other two countries came and also colluded together to vote for the state of Israel to be formed. So in 1948, the state of Israel was able to be formed, and after being formed is when the war outbreak between the Israelites and also the Arab nations began. The Arab nations saw that Israelites was a threat, and at that time the Israel and also the Jews and also the Arabs had collided so that they can send away the British who had conquered them over there. So the British, one thing they knew, that the Jews won't survive here for a long time because the Arabs were much bigger than them and they had occupied a larger area than the Jews had. And also the most of the weapons were left to the Arabs. So British had not, they didn't have any dream that the Israel will be formed and also the Jews will survive this war. So Jews, after the 1948, Jews continue coming to the state of Israel. More Jews came, and also they started occupying the area and also the land of the Palestinians. So this made the Palestinians angry, because somebody will come from a refugee to another country and also occupy also in a particular country. And also the state of Israel also supported this. When somebody comes from another place, a Jew, they will be given a home in Israel, and this home will be for a refugee who they have sent away. So some of the Jews will accept to be given that particular home by their state, and some of the Jews decline, because how can you, I am a refugee, then how can you give me a home over another refugee which you have sent away? That wasn't a right way for the Jews, which they saw as that. So later on in the days is when, after the 1948, Jews having their own state, which is Israel, and also the occupation of Jerusalem was not fully occupied. At that time, the Jerusalem was headed by also the Palestinians, and also it was being shared between three religions: the Jews, the Judaism, the Christians, and also the Arabs, which Arabs also believed, and they believe this is their own place. The Muslims also believe this is where the Jerusalem is, their holy temple over there. They created the dome. So later on, around the 1948 is when the first war of Arab broke, and also Arabs now collected and also formed the Arab League, which will try and attack Israel and also make it desolate. So Israel was a little bit advantaged, but by the beginning of the war, it was disadvantaged, because when the nations were on attacking the Israel region, the United Nations said, let us have a period of, I think it was 1 week, around there 1 week. So after that 1 week period, Israel had they were being ambushed. They had that opportunity to recollect themselves and make themselves at least more vital and also more brutal, and also being able to engage more into the battle. So what Israel did is ordered more weapons from the United Kingdom. After ordering more weapons from the United Kingdom, they were able to defeat the Arab League nations. And although ordering weapons in the United Kingdom it was against the law, because the United States, the United Nations said no type of nation or nation will be able to order weapons from another country, because World War One and World War Two, these were some of the things which can trigger the world wars. So after defeating the Arab League, there around also 1963, also the Arabs, there was a war which took around 6 days, and also the Arabs were able to be defeated by the country of Israel. And remember, at the first time I told you, the British wouldn't also didn't expect that the Israel and also the Jews to defeat Arabs, because Arabs were many. And one of the things that led to the Arabs to be defeated is Arabs didn't have the unity. Every Arab country had its own selfish interest. Another country wanted to expand its borders, although they were there to fight against Israel, but Israel was not their main interest. So that's why Israel was able to defeat all of them. It defeated Egypt, and Egypt very badly. And after defeating Egypt, it also occupied a region of Egypt, which is the Sinai. But later on in the years, Egypt and Israel were able to shake hands, and also the region of Sinai was returned back to Egypt, and also Israel also was able to take over the region of Jerusalem. And this is brought about in the year around 2016, when Donald Trump was able to recognize the area of Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel. So this is the war which has been taking place between Israelites and also the Palestinians, and also they are still not, the defeat hasn't still down into the people of Palestinians, and there have been many massacres. And before, at that time when Jews were around the 1900s to 1930s, also massacres were happening to the Jews in that region of Palestine. And also right now, also many Palestinians are losing their lives because of that region of Israel. So that's the story, and also the highlight of Israel. And also when you look at things, the Israelites, that's their own land, and at this whole time the Israelites are on the Jews are on the right position, because before anything else, that was the land for the Jews. If it's somebody who has to complain, is the Jews, because the Jews have been sent out from their land. They have been complaining to the whole world, and also they have been persecuted. And that is the only known place where the Jews originated, and also Christianity originated from that particular region. So these people trying to propagate that the Palestinians are the people who had the original land. It wasn't. If you look back in time, it was the Jews who had that land, and Jews have suffered a lot also in the hands of the Palestinians. And the Palestinians was something which was created by the Roman Empire to make the Jews forget their original land which they had lived in. So this is the history of the country of Israel, and this is some people have been also unfair to the Jews and also the Israelites. And that particular region, as it's known from the beginning of history, it was the land of the Jews, and that's why today it's called Israel. And as it was in the beginning, it was called Israel. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you watch out for the next video. And I say till we meet next time. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I will really appreciate if you do this. So thank you until we meet next time.